Good morning. The open meeting of the Cemetery Commission is being conducted remotely, consistent with Governor Baker's executive order of March 12, 2020, due to the current state of emergency in the Commonwealth due to the outbreak of the COVID-19 virus. As a preliminary matter, this is Ken Upham, Chairman of the Cemetery Commission. Permit me to confirm that all members are present and can hear me. When I call your name, members, please respond in affirmative. Joan Morton.
Aye.
Emery Oral.
Present.
Do we happen to have any other visitors or speakers this morning? None being said, we will go forward. The meeting of the last meeting will be minutes, please, Joan.
I understand that the minutes from meetings are now being done by a minutes taker for the town. So we don't have a copy of the minutes from our last meeting. If I don't get them before the next meeting, I will process the minutes I have myself and read them at the next meeting.
Okay, I have no problem with that, Emery.
No problem.
Okay, let's go into the old business as pending. You both received the information on the Massachusetts Bay Transport Authority proposition.
Yes, sir.
You want to discuss that in any form whatsoever? I have some notes on it, but I thought I'd get your feelings on it first.
I have some comments.
Okay.
I went there, and it looks like they want to take down the hill on the edge of the road towards the cemetery. And the plan that I have is not really detailed, so I couldn't tell exactly what they're up to, but it looks like they want to take out that corner post, and move it. Is that correct?
Not that I'm aware of. As I said to you previously I think on the email, is that corner post isn't going anyplace because that's the corner of the cemetery. I would never approve that, and I know you wouldn't, and Joan wouldn't.
No, absolutely not.
Yeah, that is.
So there is an estimate for a granite post and rods. What is that for?
That's along the whole line where that road is going to go out to the railway. So there's going to.
Oh, so it's not just one post. They're gonna put a fence across the whole edge of the cemetery?
That's correct.
Oh, that's excellent. Excellent.
Yeah, that's going to start at that corner post that you see there, Emery. And it's going to
I
come
see.
all the way down to the Ashley burial place.
Uh-huh.
You know Pauline's family?
Yes.
So it's
right down there at the end.
Because that's why it comes in at such a great figure.
I see.
Does that answer?
Okay, I'm good with that part of it.
Okay, Joan?
I am too. Absolutely.
Okay, what I have along that line, speaking of the fence that we're discussing now, is really quite imperative that before any construction is commencing, that fence should be put in first.
Agreed.
I agree.
Okay, so that is going to be one of our comments that we're going to make. By the way, everything that we are discussing now, reference to the MBTA, will be submitted to the Board of Selectmen by letter.
Good.
I think that's good.
Okay, so we're going to say that the fence, post and rails, it is our recommendation that be installed prior to any construction to prevent any damage or whatever to any grave spaces there. But along that same line, before that fence post is put in, I would like to see a ground penetration required of that whole area out in the front there.
So would I.
I would too. I think it's a good idea to make sure that no one is buried there.
We agree with that? Ground
Absolutely.
penetration required? Emery?
Absolutely agree with that.
Okay, I'm going to go back and ask you for an approval of this at the end here, but I'm just marking this down that we approve that 1, 2.
There's one marker. I can't remember her name, but it's right behind the fence, and I don't know where. I mean, Is she beyond that or is she in front of that? I couldn't figure that out.
Is that all the way down to the tree line?
No, it's right, it's one of the first markers in the cemetery.
So it's near that first post, you're saying that little fenced in area?
Yes.
Okay, I'm sure we go back out there, we can verify that one.
One of the first markers in the cemetery.
All right.
Yes.
I lost Emery.
I'm here. I'm getting kickback,
Okay,
getting some kind of strange noises.
okay, but we'll make sure that that is not touched or moved or tampered with in any way once this thing goes forward.
Excellent.
The other thing I'm looking at, do you have anything else, Emery, in your mind regarding this?
No, I do not.
What about you, Joan?
No, I don't.
Okay, I have two additional things on this. I personally feel that we can recommend the easement and authorize that, or okay it, let's put it that way. But I really am not good to give them the property. So I would not like to see the transfer of property to the MBTA.
Oh,
Easement, yeah.
I agree. I don't want the MBTA to take the piece of property. I say an easement.
Emery?
yeah, well, I don't know how we'll make out. They have said they want to take it by eminent domain.
Well, that's the point. We don't,
Yeah.
I really wouldn't like to see that happen. I'd rather have the easement done. Because
We can ask them if they take it, they take it.
they can't take anything unless the Board of Selectmen approve it, so. But I'd like to make a recommendation to the Board of Selectmen that no transfer of property done by eminent domain, other recourse would be easement authorized.
I'll go along with that.
Joan?
I agree. I would rather have an easement.
Okay. Now, the other thing on that is that they're going to do the road. And you are both aware that the road is going to be utilized by heavy vehicles. And
Yes.
there's a turnaround area there. There's two issues with that. The first is they are not going to maintain the road according to the present offer. I would like to put in there that maintenance of the road will be done by them in perpetuity.
Okay.
I don't want to have our town be maintaining a road after their big vehicles and dirt and everything else goes in there and starts tearing it apart.
I think they'll make a
Okay.
mess of the road and make it really difficult for, say, if we have a funeral up there. I don't think it would be good.
No, so I would like to make a recommendation to the Board of Selectmen that the maintenance of the road be continuously maintained by MBTA and not the town have anything to do with that.
I
think
agree
that's a
with
good
that.
recommendation.
Okay. In the last, it's not really a matter for us, but just to bring it to your attention, which I'm sure you already looked at. If you look at the diagram that they sent, it has to be a turnaround area. And some of these vehicles are 4, 6, in some cases 8 wheels. The turnaround area that we have now proposed is one that would be in question for me because it looks like they would have to take more of an area of property, not on our side, but on probably the neighbor's side. But I don't even want to get into that because that would be up to them to discuss that issue.
Yeah,
So
I agree.
okay, so can I hear a motion? The motion is going to be on the fence, post, and rails to be installed before any construction is started there. Number 2, no transfer of property, only an easement. Number 3, maintenance of the road will always be by MBTA. And number 4 will be ground penetration prior to any construction whatsoever to determine if there's any bodies in there. Can I have a motion for that?
So moved.
Second.
Second, okay. Motion approved. I will send a letter to the Board of Selectmen today's date with these recommendations. Okay, thank you very much on that one.
Very good.
You both have.
Good job, Ken.
Well, thank you. You both have received the letter I sent to you regarding the Cornerstone Community Church from Pastor Weingan, I'm sure, correct?
Mhm.
And
Yes.
you both have received the release and identification agreement from our attorneys. You received that too.
I'm not sure I did. I
I'm
would
not
have
sure
to
I
go back
received
and
that
look.
one either.
Okay. Then that may be my area. However, I do have the release and identification agreement. I have read it, and it's kind of standard legalese, in my opinion. And it's something that the Board of Selectmen have to sign. We don't. The only thing that we are going to do at this meeting is to agree that we are going to do the following. The letter that we have from Cornerstone Community Church by Don Weingan was on July 30th, 2020, if you can recall. And what he said basically was that the church had decided to keep the property and not donate it to the town. They will be setting in place a cemetery board and new guidelines. And in that too, he says that the perpetual care fund that we have now has in it $3,975. Copies of the receipts that I gave you too, that members of his church have paid to the town for perpetual care. He would like that $3,975 returned back to the church. The release and identification agreement basically states that we are going to, not us, but the town will be, by the Board of Selectmen, be returning that money, which will come out of our cemetery perpetual care fund. And it's kind of an easy one. It says that they were going to release it. The agreement is that the church will no longer have anything to do with us, I guess, would be. And going to assume the maintenance, care, custody, and control of the cemetery and all the things that you would imagine. So my question right now is, do you agree, in order for us to eliminate any further involvement with this Cornerstone Church and the Mullen Hill Cemetery, we authorize the payment of $3,975 from our perpetual care fund?
I
I'm in
think it's the
agreement with
least we
that.
can do.
I'm in agreement.
Yeah, I'm in agreement. It's the least we can do.
I
Okay,
agree.
motion.
I make a
So
motion that we
moved.
return the perpetual care funds back to Cornerstone Church.
Okay, Emery.
I second the motion.
Okay, motion approved, and we'll by letter notify the Board of Selectmen accordingly. The Thompson Hill project, the Phoebe Pierce, you both are aware of that we're working on that. However, the weather now has gotten up on us and we can't do much on it. So I just want to let you know that will be our project. Probably April 1st, we'll start on that.
Ken, that's Phoebe Turner.
I mean, sorry. Yeah, I don't know what I got down here Turner and I said Pierce. Oh my goodness. Okay, that's right. Thank you very much, Joe. Phoebe Turner. Yeah, I got down here Turner and that has in my mind. I had a phone call this morning. I guess that's where that's coming from. The Thompson Hill separation between Precinct Cemetery and Thompson Hill, as you know, we haven't done much of it. We still have some funds in the account, so we'll be looking at that. And I'm going to get we already have the approval. Both of you agreed to continue that. So we're not going to do anything on that until probably April 2.
We're still looking for granite posts though, aren't we?
Yes, granite posts and rails. And the granite posts are going to be matching the ones that are there now, Joe.
Right, exactly.
They're going to be hand cut.
I know there's a place in Dartmouth. Have you searched there?
No, I haven't. I didn't know anything about Dartmouth.
Actually, I spoke to the place in Dartmouth, and they don't seem to have what we're looking for. I told him what we were looking for and the sizes, and he said he didn't seem to have anything that would work for us.
Oh, okay.
The place that we're looking at, Emery, is up near Topsfield. They take the old sills from the old buildings, the granite.
Oh,
sills,
yeah.
and you're probably more familiar with that being in construction, but apparently they cut these sills to size. And they're from they're from the 1800s. So all we have to do is give them the size. And Joan, you said the size before was what?
I have the size.
Yeah, you remember offhand it was 7 inches, I think.
They were from 7.5 to 8.5 or 9, because I went out to Thompson Hill and measured the ones that were there, and they're all different because obviously they're all granite.
Right.
And they need to be 7 foot long at least.
Right.
Right.
So we have the company up there that can do it, and they're probably around $345 a piece, which is fairly reasonable when you think that Southeast Fence Company is charging the same thing for their granite post. So, in any event, before we do anything on that, and before we go further to purchase, we'll get together and we'll discuss that issue.
Okay.
I had a little incident. We've had 4 burials this past month. So the last one seemed to be one that I was confronted with. And all vaults, and Emery, I'm sure you know this, Joan, you've seen them before, all vaults are cement. We stopped a number of years ago. I've been doing this, 20 years? So 15 years ago or so, we stopped the split tops to go over the vault. And the reason we did that was that when heavy equipment like a backhoe goes over a grave, that split top would break. And it would, of course, fall into the casket area. So we stopped that. And now we say that, in fact, I sent you that, I believe, that would be on our rules and regulations, page 2, paragraph 1, that there would be concrete vaults, but there's no mention of the top. So what I'd like to do, with your permission, is make that an identification that only vaults with a domed lid, D-O-M-E-D, lid, be allowed in our cemetery. I went through and called 5 different cemeteries, and all of them require this. And some even require that it be a sealed dome top. The difference between the two is one is a self-sealing with some kind of material in a groove that once that top is put on there, it seals automatically. But that costs individuals much more money. And I don't think for our purposes is required to put in our regulations. But I do believe that we need to identify a dome top to allow vehicles going over the top of the caskets area. And I'd like to hear your comment on that.
I certainly agree with that.
I certainly agree with it as well.
Okay, so can I hear a motion about adding that to our rules and regulations of the cemetery?
I'll make a motion that we add dome-topped
To the
crypts, vaults must be to the vault, dome tops
okay.
to the language on the rules and regulations.
Okay.
I second.
All right. That done. And
I have a question, Ken.
yes.
Is that going to also pertain to Cornerstone Church and any other privately owned cemeteries?
No, because we have no authority for that, Emery. We can't.
All right. And what about burials? Are we still going to have anything to do with burials at private cemeteries?
No, none. That will be
Oh.
that will be up to the individual owners to call the different grave diggers, not us.
Yep. Good.
Yeah, it's out of our hands, all those private ones.
Okay.
Nothing to do with that. I mean, they can come and ask us for advice, like Pastor Weingan said, I want you to help us in the future. And we said, absolutely, we will, any way we can. So if someone
Sure.
called that had a private cemetery and they said, who do we get to do such and such and such and such? And naturally, we're going to assist them in that. That's part of our duty. I would require it to be, you know, let's help whatever we can in the town.
I would think so.
Yeah. All right.
Excellent.
So that motion is approved. The second is I had another situation. In our rules and regulations right now, it says that there's no monthly payment. We stopped that many years ago. So if they buy a piece of property, they could have paid for it over a period of time. We don't do that anymore. But what we don't have in there is a method of payment. We just had a return check after the deed. Imagine that, the deed was already made, and then we found out 3 weeks later that the check bounced. So here the person has the property, and we have a bounced check. So fortunately, it was an error by the bank, and we solved it pretty easily, and we had a new check issued. So
Good.
I like to put into the regulations that only a cashier's check will be approved for any purchase of any plot or lot prior to any deed being issued. Do you have any comments on that?
It seems kind of like a bother for the customer to have to go get a cashier's check. It is a little bit of a pain in the neck. What if we wait till the check clears before we pass over the deed? So ask for pay in advance.
Well, the problem with that is this, that you, in this case, the body was already interred.
Oh, yeah.
The deed was already made. And so the body was already interred, the deed was already made, and we have a bad check.
Yeah.
So you see the ramification of that is, supposing we can't get them to pay for it, what do we do next? Small claims court. Oh my
Yeah. Yeah.
And I understand, where you're coming from, Emery. It is going to be a little more effort on the people that are doing this, but I think they understand, because even if you buy real property, I don't think you can use a personal check to buy real property.
No, I don't think you can. You can't buy a tractor that way, I know.
I don't know about tractor, you do. In fact, you have one out there, I see.
Yeah, no, but my boss just bought a brand new John Deere for over $30,000 and had to get a cashier's check.
I like John Deere's.
Yeah, I like mine.
Joan, what do you think?
So yeah, I will say yes to that, but then I'd like to maybe revisit it in another year or something and see how it's been going along.
Okay.
I'll agree with that.
All right, so we'll make this as part of the minutes that it's approved to require a cashier's check to be accepted for any payment of lots or plots before any deed is issued. or any interment, by the way, is issued. However, this issue will be revisited next year at the same time to determine its availability and workability. Is that okay?
Sounds good.
That sounds
Yep.
good.
Okay, got that one. New business, the cremation project at Precinct Cemetery is on hold right now because we can't do much about it. We're gonna revisit that again. So we're gonna table it until 1st of April, marking that down to do. Any comments on that right now?
No, I'm all for it.
Joan?
I'm all for it too.
Okay.
We've needed a cremation area for a while.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, we kind of looked at a couple of issues. That columbarium one was one, but we'll discuss that later because we had some more comments on that from different people. So we'll revisit that. We'll table that until 1st of April meeting. Is there anything else?
Okay.
That's all I have.
I have nothing.
I have nothing.
Okay, that being it, I thank you both, and this meeting is adjourned. The next meeting will be, Joan, we want a meeting in December. You both,
We don't generally have one in December unless we have something pending.
okay, you want to just hold off on that until we see what's coming up?
I think we can. What do you think, Emery?
Yeah, that's fine with me.
Okay, so if I have any business, I'll let you know, and then we'll have one, and if we do have one, that will be the 8th.
Right.
Let me see, that will be the 7th of December, if we have one. So I have nothing, and this meeting is adjourned. Thank you both.
Thank you.
Thank you.